I'd say that, new ways of thinking and innovation is really, really important to our organisation. Our primary reason for being here has not changed very much. However, the scale and the nature of the issues that we're having to deal with has changed, and this requires us to come up with new approaches, with new thinking, with new ideas. Women have different life experiences to men, and therefore when they are involved they bring a different perspective to the table. There's a lot of evidence to show that women possess quite naturally some of the competences that we need for the 21st century, and this includes being more empathetic, or more naturally empathetic, quite naturally collaborative and inclusive in their approach. There's evidence to show that when women are at the table, that more attention is paid to integrity, and that more attention is paid to the impact of the decisions that we make on the well-being of others. There is a responsibility on the part of the organisation to ensure that we put in place checks and balances around this, and that we have processes and we have policies. But I would say that first and foremost it has to start with each of us at a very individual and personal level. I think that we can make a lot of difference if we take an honest look at our own behaviours, and if we take the time to uncover what our unconscious biases might be from a gender perspective and from other aspects of diversity as well, and that we consider, having raised our awareness around what our natural biases might be in this regard, that we actually then take time to stop and reflect on how our behaviours may actually be contributing to this. Very simple things like stopping to consider who it is you go to in terms of consulting on what to do around a particular issue. How diverse is that go-to group of people? How can you mix that up? I think another example might be in terms of in meetings, who's invited to those meetings, how diverse is that? Once you actually get to the meeting, whose voice gets heard? Do you notice those who are not getting the opportunity to speak up? I think very simple things like that can have a huge impact on the quality of the work environment and how inclusive it actually is. I think another example of what we can actually do around this is in terms of the extent to which we speak up when we see unfair practices against our colleagues. And so when we think about what it is we can do to change the experience of women in UNHCR, then it's a responsibility for all of us to share, and that's what I'd encourage you to do. I would say that we can encourage our colleagues to do this, first of all, by ensuring that we invest in the relationships that we have with each other, because I think it's through the quality of relationship that we have permission to actually hold up the mirror to each other and say, hang on a moment, do you realize that when you said X, that had this effect on our female colleagues? It gives us the permission to actually give each other feedback around perhaps the unintended consequences of our behavior. And so I'd say invest in the quality of relationship that you do have, and seek permission first before you suddenly launch into telling somebody that you think the way they behaved was not appropriate. So I think, the advice I'd give to new female colleagues joining the organisation, one is to seek to really quickly establish a connection with those who have experience ahead of you, and to spend time finding out from them what it's really like and what tips and tactics they have developed to be able to navigate the complexity of UNHCR as an organisation. I would encourage them not to lose sight of why they've chosen to join the organisation in the first place. It's to be expected that the transition into UNHCR might be a little bit difficult, it might be a little bumpy, but if they hold on to the reasons why they joined the organisation, that will see them through, and not to be afraid to reach out and ask for help and support. I have found that whilst people are really, really busy, if you ask, people are very willing to stop and respond and go to great lengths actually to help you to better understand why it is we do what we do, or how it is that we do things. And the third piece of advice I'd give is that we need you for your new perspectives. We need you to hold the mirror up to us as an organisation before you become part of the fabric of the organisation. And so that newness that you bring, the curiosity that you bring, the questioning that you bring is something that I'd really like you to hold on to and use that to help us as an organisation get better at what we do.